seen the improvements? I mean, I guess what improvements have you seen? It's getting better and better with each game, and obviously the adjustments coming out of halftime over the last 4 games have been solid. Are you seeing what you want to see? Kind of take on that.
Well, I feel like we are getting better every week. I feel like we've seen so much during the season that there's really not a lot of new. It's really interesting because when you talk to the guys now, whether it's on the field during the first half and you're trying to make adjustments then, or you come in at halftime and you make those adjustments, there's a real clear understanding of what everybody's talking about. I think that's gotten better for sure. I think you can see that in the second half. But overall, we lay out a plan every week, and this past week we had to stop the run, and we knew that, and that was a major priority going in. That's how they win games. So we knew that we knew that they have good receivers, and they'll hit a couple of passes in there, and they did. But the main event was to stop the run. So anytime we can go into a game and we can execute the plan the way it was intended to be, the way we think we have to play to win games, we're happy with that. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, so we didn't play perfect the other night. But we played good enough to win, and I do see defensively that, I feel like we are getting better. And, every week's a different challenge. Last week was, the run game. This week it'll be a little bit different. So, but overall, really pleased because I feel like, this is the time of the year where you have to see these improvements, and we do see these in a lot of areas.
With Noah Taylor being out, obviously a huge hit to your defense. Where you turn for that position, Chris Collins not going to hammer. Your thoughts on kind of where you
Sure. Well, I was really proud. Saturday night, there was kind of a lot of moving parts with guys that went down. Noah going down early in the game. Chris Collins came in and did a really, really nice job. Malachi Hamrick came in and really did a nice job as a true freshman. And then Kamen Rucker switched over to that position and played some as well, which we had worked him there on and off. Really proud of him, the way he filled in at that position. So I know that people say next man up mentality, but truly that's what it is. I don't know. It's hard to replace Noah because it's not just the skill set that he brought. He brought a phenomenal leadership, attitude, good teammate type presence to our defense. And so that's going to be really, really hard to replace. Obviously, he was a really good player, but really, really smart, was a great leader for our defense. Really hard to replace that. And we have some others that are doing the same thing. But in that regard, that's going to be hard to replace. But, it's this time of the year that these things happen. And we have prepared as the season has gone, depth-wise, to be able to, if these situations occur, to be able to not be in scramble mode. So we're not. We'll have to move some pieces around. But at the end of the day, our job is to put the best people on the field to give us a chance to win and prepare them the best way to do that. So we've got a good plan with that.
How far along has Malachi Hamrick come to where you're going to have to rely on him a lot more now?
We are. We've played him, a bit in our dime and our sub packages, right? Mainly third down stuff. And he's played some on early downs as well. But, when they brought 3 tight ends into the game Saturday night, he had to go in there and play with 3 tight ends in the game, And so that's the nature of the business. Really proud of the way he came in and really proud of the way he handled everything. And now he knows it's his time. Now he knows there's not a chance. It was always we had in that room between Noah and Chris, they were going to take the lion's share of everything, and then he would be a sub guy. Now he's going to have to be a sub guy, and he's going to have to be a rotation guy. So he's just got to step his game up. He's a very talented young man, and his future is really, really bright here. But he's going to have to step it up, early now, and that's how we're going to have to finish out the season. And we'll figure out what the rotation looks like, and who gets how many reps. But he's definitely more significant in the picture now.
Just a quick follow-up on that, on Malachi, Gene. When you were in the dime, were you just asking him, when you put him in there, you just say rush the passer? Like, I mean, in terms of his responsibilities, they're going to have to evolve a little bit or a lot of it. Like what, it seemed like they're just turning loose, on third down, so they go get them.
Yes, there's sometimes when we do that. There's sometimes, he's got a really good pass rush trait. We got to develop that more. We got to give him a specific plan on how to rush the passer, and because he's really talented with just natural ability. And so to answer your question, yeah, sometimes that is him, right? Like get out there, use your best move, and if you go inside or outside, we'll cover you. Just kind of turn it loose, let your natural ability take over. And then there's other times where we use him in coverage, and we drop him. So it just depends on the scheme. But he's really he's a smart football player, and he gets the big picture. So now it's going to be not just third down stuff, whether you rush the passer or you drop. Now it's going to be on the early downs, like he had to do the other night, 50-50 run pass, hold up on the run versus a 250-pound tight end, right? And be able to drop in coverage when we need you to, and be able to set the edge of the defense when we need you to. And that's just his job description. But he's going to be a really good player, and we need to get him to be that sooner rather than later.
Matt gave you a lot of credit for staying positive earlier in the season when the defense wasn't playing to the level that it was playing at now. So he asked a lot of tough questions, pretty critical of himself. But I guess what did you see then that allowed you to stay positive and think that this defense could kind of have to turn around its habit?
I'm sorry, can you repeat I didn't get the first part of that.
He just gave you a lot of credit for staying positive when the defense wasn't playing to the level that it is now. I guess what did you see then that allowed you to kind of stay positive and keep the faith when things were
And who said that to you? I didn't get. Malachi?
Matt.
Oh, Mac. Okay. All right. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. It's been a long year. I've got a lot of faith in these guys, and I got a very high level of respect for college football players and having to kind of take on all the things that come with it, right? So I always knew that we have the chance to be a good defense. I told him the other day in a meeting, sometimes we've had to love ugly, and we've had to love ugly a couple times. But again, it's all a process, right? And I think, them having to learn me having to learn them having to learn how we're going to call games. It's a completely new defense with a lot of moving parts to it. But I've always had faith that we can play really, really good defense. Are we there yet? We're still not there yet. I still believe that the best is out there for us. I told them that when we start, the first 4 games of the season are like preseason, right? Not that every game's important, but when we hit conference play, we have to play our best football. So that means that whatever warts that we had to uncover and figure out in games 1 through 4, we need to get that out of our system, and so that when we get to the ACC play, that we can play better defense. And I think we've done that to a large degree. It's never perfect. Offenses are really, really good these days. Everybody's got good players. Look around the country and look at every week these mystifying scores that you never thought you would see, right? So, but I'm really proud of our guys. I love coaching these guys. They've been a lot of fun, and probably the most impressive thing about an 18 to 22-year-old is when things aren't going well, it's human nature to duck your head and start going in a direction that doesn't help you or it's not positive. Our job was to make sure that they knew that we trusted them and we believed in them and that we can get this right, and it's going to take some time. And as I've said before, we don't panic. We just go about our job every day. There's no highs and lows. Everything is always the same. I try to give that to the players, starting with me. And I can honestly say from their perspective, every day in practice, I couldn't tell you the difference between how they practice after we played really horrible, in a game early in the season, and how we played really good in a game that we played in an ACC game. There's never a difference on a Tuesday or a Wednesday practice, and that says a lot about them, not us. That says a lot about them, and that's why I'm proud of them. That's why I feel like every week we'll still have a chance to improve and get better because of who they are.
Gene, with Brendan Armstrong, obviously, he's had kind of a tough season, but he's still the same guy who threw 550 yards against not your defense, obviously, but a Carolina defense last season. What stands out to you about him? What have you been talking to guys about his skill set, what he brings?
Yeah, he's really. I don't think you can really look at the stats and really paint the true picture of how good he really is. I know last year his stats were off the chart. You know, again, it's a new system and new coaches and all of that. He's still the same very talented quarterback. Really accurate, really athletic, has great vision and sees the field. When he is on, he is very dynamic. He's a threat, and you can go back and look at the Syracuse game, right? I mean, had every chance to win that game. They've had some games that have been close, and they've had a chance to win them. And offensively, they've had some moments where they go up and down the field, right? I think probably inconsistency would be what you see the most. But when it comes to him as the quarterback, he is the same very talented, very skilled guy that's got great open field mobility and scares you as a runner because he's got that in him. So, and he's got some really good receivers with great size and height, and so it's an offense that can explode on you at any minute.
Gene, I wanted to ask you about, like earlier in the year, you had a bunch of plays, I'm sure, where like you guys have described, 9 guys are doing something right, 1 or 2 aren't. I don't know about missed tackles, but if things you can quantify, do you see those numbers or incidents, whether missed tackles or those breakdowns, have they declined in some measurable way from then to now?
Yes, definitely. You know, we always start with explosive plays. You'd love to give up none, but you know, explosive plays. When you typically, as a defense, when you look at explosive plays after game, that'll tell the story of how well you played. There's other factors, obviously, right? Saturday, I think we gave up 7 or 8. There's been times when we've given up 15 and 18. And to your point of that's when one guy might be out of place or one guy didn't, you know, execute the coverage or there was a misfit somewhere, you know, in the defense. So, but those numbers are dwindling. We look at missed tackles and yardage every week. We look at those explosive plays, and usually missed tackles are somewhere in the equation with explosive plays. So we try to track that and we try to look at it, and you know, we feel like they're getting better. Duke was probably, in our ACC games, Duke was probably the one where we backtracked. We weren't where we wanted to be in terms of explosive plays, in terms of missed tackles. And again, those kind of go hand in hand, right? But, you know, I feel like Saturday night, we were, as far as the missed tackles go, I felt like we limited the missed tackles and the yardage that came with it. And I think, you know, in the Miami game we did as well, you know, for the most part, and Virginia Tech. So, again, our goal is to make sure that, you know, we're continuing to improve in all these spots. But I think they're getting better. I think the execution is getting better, just simply from the fact that now we're in game 8 and 9, and they're getting the same calls every week versus all the different things that you see every week. And I just felt like practice last week, there was a better comfort level with a lot of that. And I think it showed up Saturday.
Do you know how many tackles, the missed tackle count was for this week versus maybe, could you share that versus like one of the games where it was worse earlier?
Well, I don't remember the exact stats, but in the Duke game, I know that we probably had over 100 yards of missed tackles. And so, and that was obvious, right? I mean, you could take 2 runs in that game and figure that out. Saturday, we were much better. I think we were in the range of 40-something yards, maybe, total missed tackles, total yardage given up after we missed a tackle. Might have been 40 or less. But those are things that, they add up. They add up to first downs being made. They add up to, explosive plays that you don't want to give up. And in the off week before we played Pitt, we worked a lot on tackling. I mean, we had to work a lot on tackling, and I thought for the most part it showed up Saturday night. And usually when we missed a tackle, there was too much space in there because we didn't close correctly, or it was self-inflicted. But it's always a learning process every week.
It's a little expansion of your defensive backfield with Don Chapman playing a little more and Legend Cavazos playing a little more. Thoughts on how they looked and why you're getting more snaps from some newer guys and more depth there.
Right. Really proud of Don. I thought Don came in and played really, really well. He did the same thing on special teams. So really proud of him. We're trying to expand the corners roles. And when we feel like guys are working hard in practice and earning the right to be out on the field, then they'll get those opportunities, and Legend did that. I felt like he practiced really well last week. There was a couple of times in the game where he showed up, and he did what the defense called for him to do. And we need more of that. We need more of those guys to come on, as the season goes on. Now we're getting towards the end, right? You're starting to see some guys get tired. We've played a lot of plays. So it's important that these guys do that. So Legend coming in and helping our defense Saturday night, that was big. We'll continue to do that. And again, when they earn the right and they earn the opportunity to get in there and play, we'll give them a shot. And it does matter how they practice, because what we feel like, and it's not a cliche, you play how you practice usually, right? So, but it was good to see him come in there and be productive. But was really proud of him and Don for both of those guys going in there and being part of the defense.
With Jaquarius finally getting some special teams reps on Saturday, do you foresee yourself, working him in at all on the defensive side Saturday?
Yeah. So JQ is coming along. We feel like again it's a weaning in process with him. Him being able to play on some special teams is good. We're going to continue to work him in the mix and see where he is in terms of picking things up. Special teams right now really suit him because of his speed and his athletic ability and his ability to tackle. So those are good. That's perfect for him right now. And so the process with him is him learning, after being out in the spring and not really going through fall camp, learning the defense and then learning, being able to execute what we're asking him to do game plan wise. So that's still a work in process. We know he's a very talented guy. So it's going to be a process working him back in, but we're weaning him in to the process as quick as we can.
Gene, the way you all played, the last 25 minutes of the game Saturday night, I mean, they didn't score after they scored to start the second half. Third down stops, just the way you were able to come to life and finish that game. Like, what was your message after the game to them, just about how pleased I'm sure you were? Were you fired up? What was just like the immediate post-game reaction, the word that you gave them?
Basically, you practice, you play like you practice. And what's really interesting is, I'll give you a case in point. We work a lot on third and short in the open field. And I would say statistically, if let's say you use 3rd and 1 as the example, statistically, the offense is going to convert on those 75 to 80% of the time on 3rd and 1. Well, we work a lot. We call that stealing a possession, right? And we work a lot on 3rd and 1 in the open field, and us not conceding that. Well, we had 2 huge 3rd and 1 stops, and we've done that on 4th down during the year. But 3rd and 4th down, 3rd and 4th and 1, that's a big deal for us. And, you can take snippets of those examples and show that those were game changers, right? One of them was a 3rd and 1 stop, and we forced a punt. The other one was a 3rd and 1 stop and a fumble and a turnover. So we work those calls. We spend a lot of time on that. So it's really good to see them go out and execute those things in times that are critical in the game, and they were. So everybody talks about 3rd down defense, 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, getting off the field. Nobody ever really talks about what happens in 3rd and 1 because it's kind of a foregone conclusion that the offense is going to convert. but we don't talk that way. So it's good to see them do things like that and execute and build confidence that in those scenarios, we get what we practice, and we practice it a lot. So I'm really proud of them. I think the second halves in the last 4 games have been, better than the first halves. What we need to do now is start taking some second halves and put them in the first half, and then keeping some second halves in the second half. That's kind of the next goal. So, but really, really proud of them for that.
Have you ever seen a 14-12 game in 4 overtimes that didn't have a touchdown scored?
No. Have you?
I don't think I have. You know more football than
No, I can't recall one, that's for sure. It's definitely unique, for sure.
How much of Storm Ducks play, especially in the second half, we talked about 25 minutes, he minutes to do play, so how much of that is health versus how much is the middle aspect of it?
I think Storm is feeling more confident, health-wise. I think that does matter. I think he's building confidence in his execution. I think the plays that he made at the end of the game, that was huge. That was huge for our defense. Those were huge stops. And it was good to see him do that, pulling the trigger on the one bubble screen where he really went in there and played very physical. That was huge. The other one to end, it was a 4th and 5, and he tailpiped the shallow crosser and, got the stop. We all need that, right? Everybody needs that. It's really good to see him do that because he played really well. And, down the stretch here, we need our corners to have confidence. We need our corners to be able to make those plays. And it was really good to see him do it. But it was probably a little bit of both, right? Feeling healthy, gaining some confidence. And now we need to do that back to back.
All right. Sorry. Or not. I just looked at the depth chart. With Noah being out and Dez is out this week, are you in a little bit of a scramble mode at power end? I mean, Kanan's a little nicked up too, I think, and to be determined. Like I said, what sort of scenarios are you juggling there just at that position? Right.
Not in scramble mode, but certainly in let's figure out what to do mode. Yes. So, Ruck is, we'll see what's going on with Ruck. I think that we'll see how the week goes with him. The great thing is, like, Jawari Ritzie is athletic and talented enough. We've played him at power end during practice a lot. As a matter of fact, we did it a lot in fall camp. So we have the flexibility because we have so much depth on the defensive line. If we have to move him out to that position, we still have, KBJ on the inside. Travis Shaw's been playing a lot, so we still feel like we have some good bodies on the inside to be productive if we have to move Ritz out there. And Cohen's been playing well, and he's been playing a lot, and I've been really proud of him. Jacoby's been showing up, and I'm really proud of him. So his role's got to expand, and he's got to know that it's time for him to, assume a bigger role. So we feel good about that, but we do have some flexibility with Javari possibly moving out there.
Mostly in power end?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
We good?
Thanks, Gene.
Good stuff, Gene.
Thanks.